この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Sono Frieren, episode 11. And I gotta say that last week's pair of episodes was Frieren awesome. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah! Best Wizards duel since, and I've done the research on this, since Sword in the Stone 1991. Best Wizards duel since 1991. That Wizards duel, by the way, is pretty neat. It mostly consists of polymorphing each other into weird things, and then the winner wizard wins because the bad guy turns into a giant dragon, and he turns into a germ and infects him with a fever that gives him spots and kills his ass. That's baller. That's cold, man. That's ice cold. Regardless, has nothing to do with Frieren, except that we got a really fucking dope Wizards duel. And it wasn't even with our main mage. It wasn't even with our main wizard. It was with her apprentice. It was with Fern. And she beat the absolute shit out of Johann Liebert. By the way, I forgot to mention this in the last chunk of episodes, but Lugner's design and Johann Liebert's design from the monster manga or anime are the same person. And like internally, mentally, they're the same person also. So I just had to throw that out there because I think it's really interesting. I cannot get out of my head the scenes of like beams arcing around and like momentum and space and or Fern on top of the thing, flip her staff around, bonk a thing from behind, flip it back around. I'm actually still overwhelmed and hyped from last week, which is wild considering it's over. It's over. It's over. We gotta change things up a little bit. The next episodes are certain not to be like that. I'm almost certain that this week's episode or episodes are going to be much slower and more interesting and steeped in the world feeling and stuff like that, at the very least to set us up toward our next contention, our next challenge, our next threat, or whatever. But because I'm still in the zone, I'm still in the fighting mood, I spent today listening to, and I'll just throw my music for the morning, as I've been doing. Started off by listening to Evil Empire, right? Evil Empire, the Rage Against the Machine album, which is rad. I only know it as that album that has Bulls on Parade in it. Rally round the family! Yeah. And then I followed that up by listening to The Gareg by The Who, not WHOHU. The Who. The ones. The Mongolian throat singing ones. To which I, of course, almost ruined my voice by doing Tuvan throat singing the whole time. And it's actually really funny to have done that earlier this morning because you can directly hear the influence that it has on the way that I'm vocalizing. I'm more comfortable dropping into the lower register of where my vocal cords actually vibrate in a semi-throat singing type of way, which I think is super fascinating and has nothing to do with Frieren at all. I'm just excited. I'm just pumped. I just have a lot of energy going, and we're gonna bolster that with some hot tea. And then we're going to bring it all back down and back home by moving toward doing a drawing, which should be really fun. Microphone explode. Well, I will say, if you will forgive me, I'm not going to do much more talking about the awesomeness of last episode. Except to say, it was freaking awesome. It looks so good. The whole of Fern's fight with Lugner is some of the best shit that I've ever seen, full stop. And the side fight that happened with Linnea and Stark was additionally really freaking cool. The way that she moves throughout it is rad, and we spent a bunch of time on Sakagaburu looking at some of those cuts, figuring out what was going on there, and that's that. That's smashed. We're set. We're good on that front. Similarly, because we just ended a chunk, I don't see much need to, speculate about the future. We're gonna move further on into the domain of demons, this place beyond the walls of human civilization. We understand the threat now in a way that we certainly did not before. And now I don't know if demons are what we're actually going to run up against as our next set of problems. I would be more inclined to expect some emotionally driven or emotionally resonant segments as we continue further into lands that we've covered or passed through as the group of heroes before. I would expect more emotionally focused segments. But we'll see. I don't know. You know, like the Hemel Flowers episode where we're retracing our steps and just going from there. That said, everything said, I'm in that state where I don't care. And that's not a state of not caring about the show. It's a state of trust. Just a state of trust. I trust that this show is going to go in an interesting direction, whichever direction it goes. So I'm not too bothered which direction it's going to go. I know that I'm going to enjoy it. Or at least I'm certain. Maybe that's not, super smart. Because it does set me up in a position where if it starts to be, not super amazing, then it becomes harder to, I guess, notice or justify or rationalize that or put that into your brain space because you're like, wait, but the show is good and this episode was not good? How is that possible? So I don't like to come to that conclusion too quickly. I don't like to come to the conclusion this show can do no wrong. It's perfect. Because the number of shows that are really good for 8 episodes and then completely fall apart in the back half of their production, it's too many. It's just too many. That said, man, I'm thinking that Frieren can do no wrong. I think we're in the clear here, baby. I think we are in the clear with this piece of media. It's too cool. The production's too well organized. Hell, everything that I hear about the production of it is just comparing it to Jujutsu Kaisen and the ways that Mappa screwed up Jujutsu Kaisen's production and using Madhouse's production of Frieren as the counterpoint. Here's how you actually do it. And look what happened with Frieren. It ended up being this way. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed as fuck. I think it's cool as hell. Microphone explode. I actually want this to be all in darkness, I think. Oh, that actually makes it look like it's the back of her head, which is also kind of cool. Cannibal animal. You know what's kind of fun about this? Is that you can go back almost a year, maybe more, I'm not even sure at this point. You can go back to some JoJo's reactions, where I'm first drawing or copying the way that Araki draws gunshots, bullet firings. And I can make a direct link in my mind between the way that I just immediately, innately started drawing these orbs or beams or whatever they end up feeling like to you. I started drawing them with that piece of information in mind. It's one of those things where one skill acquisition or one piece of how you understand how to render the world with pencil turns into the ability to render a whole category of objects or moments or things. Just the orb of space of explosion and then momentum out from it is the basis for this, and I think that's really interesting. Just looking at it from my own perspective. I think this is the last one. I think I am going to sketch out all of the lines a little bit so that they're a little less coherent and thereby mimic a little bit of the Zoltrackiness of these beams. Because, I can't make them static. I guess I could dot, but that would be time. That would be too much time. So I'm just going to scribble on them and hope that instead of clean lines, we get sort of a more chaotic sort of feel. This sort of thing also pulls from Itano, quite obviously, but I wasn't thinking of Itano Circus or anything like it when I started. I was thinking of Araki bullets, which I think is really interesting. Woo! That's pretty cool. Oh, it also reminds me of some of the moments in Kimetsu, the Entertainment District arc, where we had Lady with all the wraps and stuff who was using those as major weapons. That was very similar as well. You ended up creating a lot of space by having things overlap or move in between each other. Although that had some more leeway because they're flat, and so you can do the like ribbon tricks to create space and three-dimensionality by folding the ribbon. Neat. I really like this. I think this is really cool because of the physical visual space that's created, and I don't know, the sense that it's potent or powerful or something. I don't know if trying to draw in a background here or like make this more coherent is going to ruin it, or like ruin the lines of it, but I'm gonna do it anyway just to see, because she is standing on something, right? She's standing on a pillar or something. So let's draw that in, and then we'll call it done. Okay, here's our pillar. It goes down. Oh, it probably goes down at an angle, though. Yep, it goes down at an angle like this. Because we're angled up on top of it, looking down. Yep, that's way better. Okay. Oh, yeah, that works. And I think even could be doing some roofs and stuff down below. I know it seems strange, but actually having chaos back behind these like very clear cut sort of curved shapes, having rigid or squared off sort of like weird information back here might make everything pop a little bit more. Yep, it immediately does. Doesn't it? Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Castle walls, I guess. That's so fucking weird. I guess it's why backgrounds matter. But like, in my mind, my thought is blank is going to be cleaner for the background, right? We've got this stuff in the foreground. Blank in a background is going to be cleaner. It's not. This looks cleaner. Huh. Bokeh, depth of field, and creation of space. It feels more real. Huh. It is so strange to take either information that's in 3D space and apply it to a 2D plane, or more honestly, what you're doing is taking information that's in a non-dimensional space, because when you think of, close your eyes, think of the image of Fern shooting laser beams, right? Are you static in that image? Is your camera in one place? Or does it move around? When she fires a beam, do you just watch the beam come towards you? Or do you see the beam sort of from all angles? Do you see it from Fern's angle and your angle, the opponent's angle, and then kind of you can sort of rotate your camera all around it and see it from every side and know exactly where it is and how it works? And then if you want to, you can flesh out a background in there, right? To be able to take like dimensionless space where your understanding of what's there is much larger than what's actually visible. The big hurdle that everyone comes to when they start to draw is drawing what you see, not what you think you see. Thank you, Yaret Benz, my art teacher, for instilling that one in me at a young age, because it's the most useful thing that I've ever heard. Draw what you see, not what you think you see. Because when you see a thing, you think of all of it. You know all of it. When you see this pencil, you know what's on the other side of it. Your brain extrapolates, it puts it all in, and you want to draw it as round, but it's not. It's a fucking rectangle. It's not a hexagon. It is a hexagon, right? 6, 7, 8. It's not an octagon. It's not an octagon. It's a rectangle, right? It's like the actuality of what this piece of stuff is different from what you see. Being able to take that spatial representation, that view of something that is more real than real, and apply it to a plane that requires you to extract information out of it, like remove a ton of the information and wire it down to something that doesn't work with the way that we actually see or perceive the world. That's wild. I still haven't even gotten to the point, I may never get to the point of taking that and reinstituting motion into it. The idea still baffles me. It's still so far beyond me. It makes me so deeply, deeply impressed by the creators that we're witnessing here, who are doing it on a regular basis as though it's freaking easy, and it ain't, and it ain't easy. I do think that's one of the cooler drawings that I've done in a while. I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy with it. Gotta get rid of that. Alright, with the sauce as the boss, don't know what that means, let's watch Frieren, episode 11. Yep, it's episode 11. Subs please version. All good. I don't know what word I was going for there. I'm a little discombobulated this morning. Sorry. I did get about 4 hours of sleep last night, which is, if I do the math, carry the one less than you're supposed to get. So I apologize for that. I will support myself with caffeine to some extent, but I'm going to be a little wonky. Frieren, episode 11. Cheers. 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, beep beep timer to count you down with early access on the Patreon, and a beep beep timer to count you down. Let's get into episode 11. The dawn of a new day. A day without fucking Aura the guillotine everywhere. Kind of sad, she was hot. That's what matters, right? His personal sexual attraction to a murderous monster. Why the prayer? Hell yeah, I did. Let's fucking go. The prayer's over all the fallen, yeah? Yeah. So we start in memoriam. Cool. Stark is just bleeding out. Fern walked all the way here and left Stark to bleed out. That'll be fine, he's a warrior. You second win, bro. I wonder, we haven't ever stated what sort of class or whatever Hemel would be, have we? Isen's a warrior. Hemel's a melee fighter, he's got a sword. I would guess he's like a paladin alike, right? Like a holy warrior or something, but his oath or holiness would be to just being a good dude. Something like that. Being the hero. But he seems like relatively lightly armored. The snare, man. It's so smart. It's so smart. Gives such a punch to it. Hey, Gruff Cronut! Huh. He's not bleeding out. He's alright. Oh, the... Hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm? Yeah. Good doggy. Good doggy. Yeah, what do you mean? Oh. Oh, she said the I'm proud word. Somebody read a book on parenting. Good job, Frieren. Normal means bloody as fuck. Oh, I thought that was a girl. Find the one? Yeah. So is it his son or his father? It's his son, right? Cool. Hey, you know how many shows we watch where I'm like, man, I hope that there's some kind of aftermath to this big event that happened, and then there's no aftermath or even, like, acknowledgement of it? A lot. I really like that there's acknowledgement of this. Makes a lot of sense. It's really important. I want this castle. Oh. Ooh. Is it real? It's probably not real. He knows. Yeah, she knows the barrier well. Just wants to collect all the fake books as well. That's so weird. Maybe it has to do with, like, memory taint? You did? Oh. You were almost there too. Oops. You wouldn't do that here, right? Awesome. Fucking great. What a gag. That was so great. Yeah, you're on the border of war. Shit's real here. Like, shit, we don't have time for propriety garbage. You gonna say something really mean? Oh, nope. Oh, we're magicking him away. Oh, that's so good. Uh, party? Party time? Party time. I don't know. You don't. The one thing you don't say to Frieren is "take your time." Party time. Welcome to the Macy's Day Parade. Holy shit! The Borgers. Did you see those Borgars? That's a freaking 1 hour eating challenge right there. Oh, we're throwing in this insert song again. This is the same one, right? Maybe not. Healing magics from Harry Potter. Thank goodness. Ooh, new clothes? Rad. Rad. Look at, oh, he's got a Santa collar. Dude, we get a character design level up. Oh no, this is just the ED. Field of Blades. Burial site. Ooh. Put them up to stand. That's cool. Can I see Fern's new outfit, please? Cool. What a different experience in this town. What's out there? Okay. Oh, so we're good. Oh, we're set. Yo, what does that even mean? No. Oh, it's a certificate. I see. Oh. So we're all set because Fern is one. Oh, she's a third rank. Never mind. Frieren just doesn't pay attention, right? Yeah, why would she? Of course. Yeah, she existed before the certifications. Yeah, totally impossible to keep up with, I'm sure. It's a cool little cut. So no time at all. Yeah. Every 50 years, gosh. I can't wait. I can't wait to see Frieren smash some exams. That's... Oh boy, it's a far way away. Good. Hey man, for sure. Alright, Fern's new outfit's really freaking cute. They've all got warm weather gear. I think the backgrounds have been much more toned down, with the exception of like big sunset scenes or like the funeral scenes. Hey. Good thing you've got some warm weather clothes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exposure and dysentery. Right. Right, that's what I said. The same thing that kills most of every army. Like, fuck. Shit. Well. Maybe you should have brought more clothes. Got any tauntauns? Fuck. Got any warmth magic? Don't you have some tea making magic or something? Yeah, that's some bullshit, man. I would dream about it too. Ah, mundane magic doesn't work. That's super cool. Physically, with your bodies? Half. Holy shit, Fern! Shut the fuck up. We could die out here for sure. Oh, there's the shelter. So I guess Lehman's tiny hut does not exist. You can't just simple barrier it. I wonder if there's anybody home. Is he working out? Sounds like somebody doing squats. Or fucking. Yeah! He's doing squats! I knew it! I fucking knew it! And he's an elf! Oh my god, he's got burning blood. He's Neketsuhen. And a weirdo. What's up? What's up? Those are Hindu squats, by the way. They're great. Not my favorite, but they're great. He's just trying to stay warm, bro! Yeah, wow, Fern. You don't do well with men, huh? There aren't that many fucking elves in the world. 300 years? Eddie's fine. What can you do? Fern is all sorts of bashful. Ooh, what? What goddess? And the grip of the thing. Also, who's this voice actor? It's got the inochi that. I've heard him within the last, 2 days. Guaranteed. Oh, I know his voice really well. I can't place it, but I know him really well. Weird. Oh. Put him by the fire. Ooh. He's turning into a magical girl. Mmm. You're awakening to your true power, Stark. Embrace it and henshin. Oh. Spicy. Spicy icy. Nah, this is the dream. Fuck this. Oh, he's gonna jump out. Time to freak out. There it is. It's killing me who this guy is. Oh. Yes, there are things you should learn! No! Admiration! Yeah! Could also be all popcorn. Shit happens. I wonder if this guy's gonna travel with us. Is he gonna be our, cleric-alike? Oh, because he can warm him up. That's rad, yeah. Yeah, but you're fucked if you can't warm him up. Where did she put the staff? What's the smidge on that? Is there a rep you got? Okay. Does that have meaning to him? Before that. You have been for a long time. Interesting. Frieren stole her blanket. So we're montaging through learning a little bit about his faith, and nice. What a haul. And they're joining in as well. That... Okay. I thought he was going after the rabbit with the axe. I was like, overkill. Overkill. This is what I wanted. You know, I said I wanted a slower paced episode. This is it, man. Steeping in a location, in a thing, in a... Holy shit! We're wintering it here. I didn't realize we were gonna winter here. Oh, is he carving another symbol of his faith? He is. Okay. Cool. I would love to know more about the goddess. Thank you so much. Okay, an abandonment style god. Invested in everything. Yeah. Mmm. Mmm. Someone else struggling with time. Whoa. I do. This fits the same argument that I had about Himmel's statements about convenience. It would be very nice for that to be true, but that doesn't mean that it's true. So I don't even need to say it. She nails it. He knows it too. That's really cool. Ooh. So his belief causes him to embody the person that he cares about the most? The entity that he cares about most? Hmm. Belief makes some people's lives worthwhile. You can't deny that. Hmm. Just on your own perspective, ridiculous. See through. And you've been doing it for many. Yeah, I don't know. I've experienced it and it's pretty freaking interesting. In a weird way, an orphan. Oh, it tracks in so many ways. I didn't even think of Fern. Hmm. Nice, catchy. That's such a free-ready thing to do. Party with the goddess, perhaps. There it is. Hey, you got infinity. Yeah, you got a long time to go. I think we're gonna see you before that, my guy. Alright, he's not joining the party. Hey, did you get beefed up a little bit too? Stark, you learned some cool training stuff? Hope so. Oh my god, and there it goes. That was the whole... What a great... That was really exactly what I wanted. That was exactly what I wanted. And some pieces that I didn't know that I wanted. We had this really fast-paced pair of episodes focused in, like laser focused in on fighting the demons. And then a little bit of denouement, like some rap, into some exploration and time skip, and fuck! Okay, so the insert song is not the ED, obviously. I'm dumb. It's an insert song that we've repeated. Okay. Warriors, warriors, warriors. Maybe we're going to get some answers on the exact question that I asked around the hero. What's his deal? Pure white cape? The greatest of warriors in the village? I don't know. Maybe. Seems interesting. This is a cool episode. I really, really like the type of episode that this is in the place where it is. We're in a transitional moment. So, okay, here's how I see it. We started our show in Southlands, right? Established the Frieren Hemel history past, and then the journey that she will embark upon. Establish Fern, meet up, continue on, time passes slowly. Establish Stark, continue on, fight the dragon. Move outside of the realms of the familiar. Like the normal lands. In Campbellian terms, Joseph Campbell's like the hero's journey, that would be like the overworld. The classic normal world is where we start. And that's where we meet Fern and where we meet Stark, and both of them have to engage in this journey, and all three of the characters have to engage in this journey into the underworld, or into another place, a place of unknowns and darkness. For Frieren, she's like somewhere in between because she's a mystical character. She's got this infinite life and she's been on this journey before, but it's still a journey back into the underworld for her, right? In a lot of ways, what happened with Frieren is that she did this journey to the underworld the first time. And again, I'm saying journey to the underworld. Obviously, she's not going to the underworld. She's going up beyond the walls. But it functions the exact same way. There's a distinct barrier between where we are, where it's comfortable, and where it's not comfortable. The outside world where things are scary, and literally the demon lord lives. That's the underworld, right? She went to the underworld, and they defeated the monster there, but the core of the Campbellian monomyth is not to defeat the monster in the underworld. The core of the Campbellian monomyth is to defeat yourself in the underworld, find a piece of information, and bring it back to the overworld to change everything in a meaningful way. It's a different myth, right? So Frieren didn't do that, couldn't do that. It wasn't her story at that point. And now she's going back to retrace her steps in order to accumulate the information that she thinks she's missing, the pieces of like connection to the spirits or specters of the people that she's lost along the way or over this span of time. She's trying to understand the purpose of journeys as a whole, the point of journeying, the point of any of it. And I'm speaking in big, broad swaths, and everything that I say is right and wrong and a little bit mishmashed and muddled. But that's sort of where we were. We hit this threshold point before we can actually exit our safe location, our safe lands, and move through Graf Granite's domain into the outer world. And what we cross is really, it's a place of contention. It's a place where the forces of the underworld, the demons, are exerting influence on the other forces. There's like this balance of power or imbalance of power, and we show up and we set it out of whack and set everything in motion and change things in that location. That leads to 2 episodes of serious location changing stuff at the threshold, and our next step is to move beyond that threshold and into the world beyond it. What's beyond the wall? Well, what's beyond the wall is space. Like journey, movement, and then questions. That's exactly right, I think, right? As soon as you step beyond the places that are comfortable to you, with the blessings of the people behind, moving forward into a new location, like having done the best that you can in the place where you are, as soon as you step beyond that, like questions are going to arise. Distance starts to become a factor. You've made yourselves a little bit of heroes here, and now you move on past this into a new land. And we need to spend time figuring out what this new location means. What does it mean to be out here as a group adventuring? And they come across immediate struggle. Like, they can't get through this completely alone. They need to be resting on the backs of civilization insofar as they can find it in terms of the little shelter, and then on each other and on maybe other people. But the point is to have some slowdown right after the big speed up. Everything comes up and becomes climactic and chaotic and beam battles and demons and fighting and or the guillotine, and then we need to slow it the fuck down. And we do an amazing job of slowing it the fuck down. First, by respecting the losses and death and aftermath of battle and chaos, right? Taking the time to sit here and feel this and make sure that we can put it to rest in some real way. Something that I think plays along with our journey that we're on in general that has to do with putting people to rest, making sure that their legacy remains in some sense, putting things right in a final manner. It's really nice. And I said it when it happened, but I'm going to say it again. There is a near absurd amount of media, of shows, of episodic anime. And I noticed this perhaps because of the way that I watch these shows, right? Maybe if I were watching them weekly, interspersed with other stuff, or like watching them as they aired, I wouldn't feel this, because I'd be more looking forward to the next one and less thinking about what happened in the last one. Every time I come into an episode, I really try to think about what happened exactly in the last episode and how that might move us into the next one. Whereas if you're just watching something weekly that comes out, maybe you're just fiending for the next one. You don't care what happened last time. You just want whatever's best in the content that you can get. But here, like so many shows will have this big climactic battle with a lot of death and destruction and stuff. And the next episode, it's like it never happened. It's like it never happened. We don't spend the time to have it have an impact on our characters or have an impact on the world around them, but most pivotally on our characters. We don't spend that time. And here in Frieren, we really do spend that time. And I really, really deeply appreciate that. I really appreciate it. It's like a continuous struggle that I have with Mobile Suit Gundam in overall is that like there will be an important, critical, absolutely like mind-rocking character death of somebody who's deeply close to a primary character in the story. Like their little sister gets exploded, right? And you're like, holy shit, that's going to have a huge impact on the way that our character acts and interacts moving forward. And the next episode, they're like, I'm ready to Gundam. I'm here and ready to go. It's like, dude, your sister got blown up yesterday, and you're just up and at it. Where's the fucking rockedness? Where's the depression? Where's the cope? Where's the real human stuff? And that just takes a backseat to the desire to push forward and have more content and more information in the next episode and stuff. And I think you lose a ton. You lose the humanity of it. We need time to reconcile. We need time to incorporate. We need time to intake information and overcome situations. It's not just instant. We need time to put our dead to rest. We need time to be seen and praised as heroes by the town that we've saved. We need time for this. And we get it here. And I really appreciate it. A whole lot. I also appreciate the fun gags, like the axe guy from the back just showing up at the exact right time. Spectacular. The hobby of acquiring grimoires continues to be really interesting. I do wonder if there's some additional motive to collecting even the fakes, but I don't know. God damn, look at those burgers! What the fuck? It's like a full boule, right? Like a full boule of bread. A full sourdough loaf. Just sliced and borgard. I love it. I think that's rad. It's cool. This song. Where did we get this before? I don't know. I know we got it before, but I don't know where. It don't matter. A lot of this episode is taken up by just montage, right? We have time passing in city, and then we have 6 months that pass in the winter. So a large portion of the episode is taken up by time-skippy montage stuff, and I freaking like it. I'm in. It takes them serious time to get themselves together, and winter is coming, and they get new clothes and decked out in cool stuff. I really think Stark got the best level up in terms of clothing gear, like the cuffs and the double strap belted leather collar thing. That's cool. It reminds me of my moto jacket. Here, reminds me of this guy because it's got It's got this little strap here, which holds the zipper from flapping around, you know, because it's a zipper, right? But it'll like flap around and suck. So that, I love this jacket. I got it for like $80. It's like a $400 $400 full grain leather moto jacket. Somebody bought it and returned it, and it was open box, and it's exactly in my size. So yeah, it's getting too hot for me to wear it though. So I need to figure out I've got a mesh jacket, but it sucks. So I've got to figure out a different solution. I might go just like body protector armor shell or something like that. I don't know. I don't want to die. The problem is I don't want to die. So no. Freaking cool jacket for Stark. And a step back moment from these slow scenes in the sunset hues of praying over these bodies to the montage through all the way up to the insert song and pieces of montage there. Our use of music and flow and cinematographic tricks, the way we organize our shots and collate them or juxtapose them to create a sense of time flowing, a sense of everything, is really immaculate. It's like immaculate. It's so freaking good. I'm getting really excited because there's the thing that I need to look up soon. Oh, I just wanted to note this as well. When we first entered this city, shots like this of big looming buildings on both sides of us were traps, were unfamiliar mazes, like a place that's not certain, a place that's not cool to be in, and now it's a place that's cool to be in. Just because of lighting and tone and stuff. Now this is our space, a space where we are respected and cared about and viewed as a little bit heroes. There's so much little shit, right? We start this conversation in the light, and then when he says stuff, he's like, this is great, you're going to the end day, and when he says conditions aren't looking good, we go darkness. It's like so simple, right? But we didn't have to do that. We didn't have to put it there. We're just smart. We're just fucking smart. And now we get another big threshold moment, like past the thing, and now we're walking alongside Graf Granite. It's like, it's different now. The stuff about the emblems and certifications, I think, is really funny. It's just a little jab at the way that we try to manage that kind of thing, right? Frieren is completely disconnected from the types of mage society that would keep track of people. Like, none of the people in that society would honestly be able to judge her capacities as a mage, probably, because she's that far beyond them, right? Maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe there are some really great mages still in the world, but she's outside the system a little bit. That's really cool. I wonder if it will come up, if we'll run into a problem. They'll be like, oh, you only have a third-class mage with you. You suck. We do some setup here, show the map, demonstrate how much space we're going to have to cross, and show those cold, cold mountains in the background. Good stuff, folks. Absolutely rad. Winter is coming. And if you underestimate them, you will die. In the war against the Demon King's forces, what do you think claimed the most lives? I'm just going to do a quick couple looks here. It's harder to find information about this than I thought it would be. You can find information on tens of thousands of winter-based deaths in the Korean War. Certainly there's the classic story of Napoleon going for a land war in winter, bad ideas. But actually determining how many casualties during major wars came from, like, cold exposure, disease, is tough. That said, World War II, for example, 50 to 56 million of actual direct caused casualties, military and civilian, with an estimated 19 to 28 million deaths from war-related disease and famine. So, another 50% on top, deaths from famine and disease. And I would imagine that within the battle counts are counted those who died of exposure on battlefields. I mean, it's not anymore the point where cold kills more people than bullets do, or disease and exposure kill more people than the war itself does, but it used to be for a long, long time. For a long, long time. Actually, I guess maybe I could go Civil War. 2/3. Yeah, before the 20th century, before diarrhea, dysentery. It's no fucking joke. And we're screwed. I wonder why Stark has the worst constitution against this cold stuff. I don't really know. Isn't that information 80 years out of date? And he's here. Immediately from the sound. I knew it! It's the only thing. It's the only thing. It's not push-ups. Could be pull-ups, but it's not. It's not. Those are squats. They're squats. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick lesson here. The Hindu squat. It's actually pretty well animated as well. There are some problems with it, and I'm going to make some form criticisms. The most important part of doing the Hindu-style squat is the arm movement, actually, because if you don't do the arm movement, you're going to fall on your face. The second most important thing is actually to come up on your toes, which is the opposite of most like barbell-style back squatting or most squatting that you're going to do, where you want to anchor your heels into the ground and generate force directly through the center of your foot. You'll naturally come up to your toes, but you want to stay back so that you can engage your posterior chain. The Hindu squat is actually really different. What you're really doing is you're stretching all the musculature of the front of your leg, your quads, and your tibialis and stuff. You're stretching all of that by coming backward in that sort of arcing pattern with your hips. And then as you move forward, you want to come up on your toes and use that to sort of rebound out of your quadriceps and push off. I think these are a great air squat style exercise or supplementary exercise. Because you don't really, like you work a lot off of tension and rebound. It's not a very high impact exercise. What I should say is the actual like strength requirement of each rep is way lower than a straight down, straight up, like heel loaded squat. Because you're doing a lot of stretch and rebound. So it's a really good form for doing a lot of repetitions. You can do like hundreds of Hindu squats when you can only do a couple dozen normal ones. More importantly, now that we've met this lad, I need to know who the fuck his voice is. Kraft singles. He's a cheesy boy. Kraft, Frieren, Mal. Takehito Koyasu. Ah, I know that voice. You're not Dio. He's Dio! God damn it. God damn it. God fucking damn it. God fucking damn it. I knew I'd heard him within days. Cause he's Toto. He's Toji Fushiguro in JJK Zero. We just heard him on Friday. It's so funny. Like as I was pulling the page up, I was like, Takehito Koyasu, that's that can't be it's fucking Dio. God, he's everywhere. Oh, now I hear it completely. Shikashi. Oh, you know what? I should have caught it as soon as he said Tengoku. I feel stupid. That's okay. That's okay. I freaking love it. So there are a couple interesting wrinkles. One, Fern, not as comfortable with nude males as maybe she thinks she is. Such a I still am not over her calling Stark's pee-pee small. Also, the implication that therefore Hydra has big pee-pee is very, very fucking funny. I actually wait, when we pan down, no, she's not using the spell, right? There's no chance. She can't be using the spell, right? No, she just gets bashful about it. 300 years. So Fern's interaction, interesting. Frieren's interaction, interesting as well. She doesn't seem very intrigued to meet another elf. At least at first. But it does end up being the cornerstone of our interactions, our relationship, so that ends up being cool. And then, that thing, I think, shows up in the ED. Another element of a place that we've been that pops into that in some meaningful way. Mage, warrior, traveling to heaven, but not out of piety. Stark is getting colder, and he is hallucinating, and then waking up with a man with a nice body. Good job, Stark. Look at you, bud. Hey, nice body, old man. Nope, not like that. Real recognize real is what it is. Oh shit. A dude who's legit and has trained. This is real. That's real shit. There ain't nothing wrong with it. It's a real unfortunate aspect of our how would you put it? Inherently homophobic society, or at least you would say inherently heteronormative society. Like the ability to admire the bodies of people of the same gender as you is considered a little weird by a lot of people, and that's kind of silly. Like, how are you going to set goals if you can't meaningfully look at people who have achieved them already? It's like, it's reasonable. It's very reasonable. And very cool. All right, I gotta ask, where does she keep the? How does the staff work? Where does it go? How does that work? What kind of spell is this? Okay, real talk. How does this work? Because this is a fundamental issue. Can you make things disappear? Like, it doesn't disappear, it's gone. It's gone. In what manner? Is it going somewhere else? Is it physically somewhere on this plane of existence and she recalls it to her, like a conjuration sort of thing? Is it going to a different place, like a demi-plane, where she's separating it from our reality and putting the matter of it somewhere else? Is it literally demanifesting entirely and it doesn't exist anymore, and then she manifests it out of memory or something like that? No idea. How does it work? Where does it go? There's matter there. It's physical matter that makes up that staff, and then it's not there anymore. I'd really like to know where it goes. Please don't spoil it for me. I just want to mention this is a wrinkle, and it's the biggest mystery so far in Frieren. Where does the staff go? I don't know. Don't know. You know, I think we've seen a lot of spells, right? I think the spell that we've seen by far the most is carry heavy shit with magic. From cleaning up a beach, to carrying Stark through a crowd, to just everything. There is very little that's quite as useful as carry stuff with magic. Just lift heavy things with ease. Basically magical pulleys. This is cool. That's cool. This is why when I made a D&D character, or almost any time I make a D&D character, I go into the equipment and I buy one thing. By one thing every time, a block and tackle, baby, because it lets you lift 4 times the amount of stuff that you would be able to lift solo. And if you have enough rope, you can get your whole party, all like 3 or 4 of them, to pull on that rope, and you can lift 4 times the 4 people's strength, which is a lot of lifting, man. That's a lot of weight to move. You gotta love magic that lets you move things easily. Pulleys, blocks and tackle, those do it. They do it. She's the mage from the Party of Heroes. And before that, what do you mean? Well, what he means is, that can't in any way be your legacy or your reality, right? These small-lived peoples around you see you as that. But you've only been the legendary mage of the Party of Heroes for some couple of decades, right? Right? Compared to the 1,000 years or whatever that you've actually lived. That's not who you are. It's like asking a 25-year-old who they are, and they answer with their profession, right? Their job, the thing that they've been doing for 4 to 6 years. That's not who you are. That's not the answer. Who are you? What's your deal? We've been much before that. There's no answer. Not there. Frieren is a blanket thief. Bad roommate. Frieren is a bad roommate. He's a great roommate, though. He seems dope. Others join in his little prayer. Frieren never does. Never stops to say words or pray before eating, always just digging in. Which will lead to our discussion later about faith. What a scene. Honestly, it's like the executioner scene, but in reverse. He's actually just cutting down the tree instead of killing the thing, just like the guy was actually cutting trees instead of killing him. I think that's cute. I think it's really cute. There's so many smart, stupid things, like little stupid things that are actually really smart. And 6 months pass by. Poof. We've made it through. We wintered here. A symbol not for you, but for Fern. A symbol of the goddess. So why do you believe? And he recognizes that she doesn't, and doesn't try to indoctrinate or evangelize. She justifies it too. It's more than nothing, right? During the age of mythology, the goddess was real. Like, that's the expression that we get. Excluding during the age of mythology, hasn't shown herself once in the long history of this world. So, was extant in the age of mythology, but is no longer, or has not shown herself at all. That's really interesting. What's this called? There's a term for this. It's deism as a whole. The belief in a creator god who set the universe in motion according to nature's laws, then left it to run on its own. Oh, or pandeism, which is the one that I suggested, investment in everything, which is the thing that I said. That's the idea of the creator deity doesn't interfere with the universe after its creation, but actually ceases to exist as a separate entity and becomes the entirety of the universe. Explaining why God appears to abandon the universe, it's that the deity has actually invested the entirety of their being into the universe itself, and it's our actions that are the actions of that deity or whatnot. Which is an interesting perspective. I think a cool one. You're young, he says. What a wild thing for an elf to say to another elf. But now I believe from the bottom of my heart, and his reason, well, he recognizes that his reason isn't really a belief from the bottom of his heart. It's a need. He needs her to exist. And it's an extension of the same thing that Heiter said before. I think. We hone and hold on death, on mortality here. And he explains, once Kraft the monk was well known for great triumphs, righteousness. But everyone who knew of that has died. There's no one to recognize you anymore for who you actually are, Kraft. No one to see, no one to praise. He can't live like that. So he believes that she will be there to remember. So it's not about connection with the goddess or even the belief that this character or person exists. It's that someone will remember. It's that he will exist onward. That he won't cease. It hits right on the desperate need that I think humans really truly have to live beyond ourselves. And I think the more that I think about that, I think that's an inherent part of what life is and means. From the first organisms that we could call life, alive, the thing that most differentiates them from non-living entities is the passing down. Some element of the structure that exists will cease to exist and yet will continue existing. From the first protozoa or even like carbon circle chain things that we believe might have been the first real organic molecules that became something else. By their nature, by the interactions of like quantum spin and charged particles, they cause other rearrangements of particles around them in space or in the primordial soup of existence. But then, taken a step further, in the first creatures that had some semblance of nucleotide sequences, RNA or its precursors, the thing that differentiated them was the ability to pass those bits of information from one to another, to another, to another. That's the sauce. That's the spice, right? And we are deeply more complicated creatures than that, and yet we are still founded on exactly the same pattern. Every cell in your body is built to be an emulation, a clone, a copy of the cell that divided and became it. And you, as an entity, as a structured piece of matter in the way that you are right now, will cease to be. And that's inevitable. There's no way around that. You can find a psychological way around that by saying that there's something about you that isn't matter, that's elsewhere, that's other, that's unprovable, unseeable, untouchable, that's not some emergent property of your complexity, but is a soul or spirit or entity beyond that contains the you part of you, and maybe that will live on in some other place. But there's no evidence for any piece of that. Not for any piece of it. There is dramatic evidence that a vast majority of what you are will be retained and passed on to your biological children, your biological offspring. And there is equally obvious and immense evidence that your words, your writing, your creation, your teachings, the way you interact with people around you will have an impact on their experiences and their lives moving forward. You will live on memories in them. These are the ways I think that we overcome this feeling like everything that you have done is temporary. Because it's a really... well, it takes the wind right out of your sails, doesn't it? On the small scale, it's the same problem of like, why clean my room if it's just gonna get dirty again? Why exist or live or be in the first place if it's all just going to end? Right? It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't continue on past me. What's the point of it? And you can spiral into deep nihilism that way. But if your ancestors, any one of them, thought in that way, you wouldn't be. Right? There's something to that. There's something to this desire to exist beyond yourself that I think is a fundamental element that religion uses to get its hooks in you. And if that creates peace and right action from you in a meaningful way, then there's no problem with that. That's great. But I do think that there's a more realistic antidote to that nihilistic fear, and it's to recognize that you don't stop existing just because you stop existing. Nor do you stop existing if you don't have children. You can pass on yourself, your being, the things you are most interested in, passionate, and care the most about in this world. You can pass those on in innumerable media, in many forms. And in the light of the existence of printing presses and now the internet, you can be relatively certain that things that you do pass on will exist for a long, long time and be accessible to humanity in the future. Is it an arrogant thing to do that? Maybe. But it's also a purpose-granting thing. It's like, why find important meaning in your life if all of it just is dispelled when you leave this mortal coil? Why go on cool experiences if they're not going to go anywhere? They just go into your brain and then sit there for a while and maybe alter your behavior for the next 60 years, and then you fucking die, and those experiences didn't exist anymore. Why not just sit in a cell and eat bread and water? Like, what's the point of any of it? There is a point. It can be purpose-granting to believe that your purpose is to find the best things in life and pass those on to those who won't know about them yet, right? Like, you can save people time and effort and energy by experiencing well and broadly and then thinking about it and writing down what you think about it. You can save people a lot of pain. You can direct people in really interesting directions. It's what we get to do, and I know I keep coming back to this, but it's a core element of Frieren as a piece of meta-narrative, is that the story is about information transfer across time. It's about passing on things, and stories inherently are about information transfer across time and passing on things. So what we're doing as we're experiencing the story of Frieren is experiencing a metaphor that will shape and change the way that we actually interact with reality in a way that might actually save you some pain in your life, like might actually direct you toward meaning in a way that matters. I think that's a legacy that the creator of Frieren might be very proud to die with. Yeah? I think so. And yet, it doesn't have the quiet simplicity of believing that you'll go somewhere else and be praised by an entity who is truthful in fullness, who cannot lie to you, who has no doubts, and to be able to put away all of your mortal or semi-mortal, as we don't know how long elves actually live, your mortal or semi-mortal fallibility, and be able to cede yourself entirely to a god or a goddess, something that is inherently right and righteous. That's so safe and simple. It's so direct and beautiful. That's part of why I don't think it's true. It's too tempting. It's too perfectly imagined. And to me, that means it's too obviously imagined. Too obviously a pleasant story to tell ourselves. And yet at the same time, I can't deny the value of that story to those people who believe it. So just like, as we discussed when Heiter was talking about the value of belief, even without belief, that it means something, I think that I disagree, and I'm focused on reality and what's real and provable, but I can't take away the genuine behavioral modifications that occur to these people, the changes that happen within them, the ways that they act because of their beliefs. I think that they could act in those ways if they were completely atheistic and just focused on reality. They could come to the same conclusions rationally, but you can't deny that they managed to get there quickly by using the shortcut, if you will, of religious thought. It's too cruel for the path that your life took to not be remembered by anyone. The world is cruel. I don't know what to tell you. This justification doesn't work, right? It's too cruel, so I can't believe in a world where that exists. Sorry, man, the world is that cruel. Sucks. And yet at the same time, I recognize the comfort that this gives him. And Frieren sees it too. It's just something that we desire. He knows. He's not a fool, right? There are a couple of kinds of religious folks, and you'll meet them. If you ever get into arguments about religion, you will meet them. And some of them will hardline this and be like, it's not just something we desire, it's true. Despite complete lack of evidence for it, despite everything, I know that it's true because I know that it's true. That's a separation of, like, an inability to recognize that you're just manifesting a thing out of your own motivation. Like, you're motivated to have that be the case. You'd really like it to be true, and therefore it is true to you. Kraft is not like that. He looks down, and he really does hear that. He hears it, and he knows it. So does that apply to heaven too? I like this little moment with the fox as well. Because the fox is digging. I don't know exactly whether it's digging on... it must be. It's the corpse in the snow. So the fox comes over and is digging at the corpse in the snow to eat. Does that apply to heaven too, is when we drop the snow on it, burying it. And it serves as like a punctuation to the line. Then the fox gets up and brushes itself off. The snowfall would indicate like a powerful statement, one that maybe rocks Frieren's perspective, but then she gets up and brushes it off. And he brushes it off. He doesn't even let her answer. Not that she was going to, I think. But he throws out this rhetorical, does that apply to heaven too? It's just something we desire? Wham. No matter. Let us simply tell each other about ourselves, and I'll praise you instead. And that takes us to here, where he would do the same, and say the same. There are also pieces that are important. He was an orphan too. That's why he funds this orphanage, and probably why he takes in Fern. When I die, I'm sure the goddess will praise me. And you? Do you have someone to praise you? I'll praise you instead. She claims to have never done anything praiseworthy, and he calls out or sees through to the continuous training that she's doing. But you train constantly. Isn't that praiseworthy? And here we have a matter of what I would call like perspective on things. To Frieren, that's just normalcy. It's not praiseworthy. It's just being. It's just the nature of existence. But to him, it is. It's very interesting. You put a lot of effort into this thing over a long period of time. I think this is a real trap that a lot of us really do fall into. We normalize our good behaviors. We can end up normalizing our small wins to the point where they don't feel like wins and we feel like we're losing. But from the perspective of many people, getting up in the morning, brushing your teeth and taking a shower every day or every other day, like with consistency, is like, oh shit, that's praiseworthy. That's like ahead of the pack. That's interesting. And yet, I'll bet a strong percentage of the people who do get up every day and take a shower and brush their teeth feel like they're not doing much useful or valuable with their lives. And fair enough, their standard has raised because their baseline includes showering and brushing your teeth and basic hygiene and stuff. But you can't forget about your small wins. That's my takeaway here. Can't forget about them. You'll even see it in pretty interesting ways. Like, you'll see a person who's gone and worked out effectively for 5 years, and they've gone to the gym 3 times a week and worked out seriously every week for 5 years, and they'll come out with the same conclusion, like, I'm not doing anything interesting or praiseworthy. It's like, well, you've spent the last 5 years building your physical and mental level up to the point where that doesn't even feel like effort to you. That's pretty fucking praiseworthy. That's different. And that's closer, I think, to what Frieren is doing. There's some real value to having someone to praise you. Having someone to look at you and say, hey, you're doing good. You're doing all right. Because I think a lot of the time, if there isn't fanfare and a ticker tape parade and shit, you forget that it's the small things that really make a huge difference in your experience of existence. They're not really small things. It's a continuous thing. I don't know, I like this episode. This episode is it really feels motivational. Something that would take a lifetime to accomplish. And indeed, I'd like to know about it. This thing that you think is not that interesting as a story could be useful for someone else to know, and in point of fact, it becomes directly useful in exactly the way that we've expressed. This information about Frieren's method, this thing that she's been doing and thinking of as normal, like it's just her normal state of being is to be suppressing her mana, is probably something that was instituted in Fern's teaching from the get-go and is critical to Fern's capacities as a mage, right? Actively changed the life of a different person, improved their chances of success in reality, reduced their likelihood of experiencing dramatically, like, awful pain because they're a more competent wizard, right? Right? Information transfer, motherfucker. Boom. Balls. Absolutely baller. I thought priests couldn't marry. That's not what he means. Why do so many strange people serve the goddess? That's all right. I've already had someone praise me. Cherish your good friends. There isn't time. He's already... And she changes her line. She was going to say he's already dead, and then instead chooses to say he's in heaven now. She's come to choose to believe to some extent. So we part ways. A few centuries to see you again. And I fucking love this shot because it's straight Mongolia. It's like steppes, Himalayas. Bam. All it needs is another layer of bigger mountains back here, and it's fully the Mongolian steppe. It's like, that's the Himalayas, baby. I love it. I dig it. I'm in. See ya, old man. And we're done. I really like this episode. Visually focused? No. Dialogue focused. Time focused. Emotion focused. Expression focused. Interaction focused. This feels like a Mushishi episode. Last 2 episodes, shonen battle anime. This episode, Mushishi. Enter a location, on our own, meet an interesting character, cross paths with them, interact, change each other's experience of reality, continue on in our directions. Complaints? Zero. None. Nada. Goose eggs. No complaints. No probs. Just an excellent episode. Fuck. They did it again. They did it again. God. They did it again. Alright, I am going to check Sakagaburu just to see if there's anything super dramatically interesting that I missed that people threw up on Sakagaburu, because that happens. Kids playing. Fox. The little shot of the little animals in the cubby. Hot boy summer, hot boy winter, squats, some of the walking scenes in town. So yeah, nothing that really stands out. Oh, throwing Stark up in the air and carrying him around, pretty cool. And all of them, literally every cut in the episode appears to be artist unknown. So cool, great. That's fine, cool. Hey, you know what's kind of crazy? This will get people's goat a little bit. You know what Frieren doesn't need to be a great show? Dope animation. It helps a lot. It's certainly, the big action episodes wouldn't work nearly as well without it. But this episode needed zero animation. This episode could have been still frames. Still landscape frames and shots of characters sliding across them, and we would have had a great time with it. The whole experience of the episode is the musical flow and the scene-to-scene expression, and it's not the visual stuff. It just needs to be at a certain degree of fidelity for us to take it seriously, but did it need to be anything else? No. The budget of this episode could have been a quarter of the last ones. Could have been a quarter. What matters? It's well written, well directed, well put together, well executed. That's the best testament to it, isn't it? I think maybe a quarter of the shows that get quite popular only have that visual element, only have that bombast and that whoa, this is cool looking, and totally flub the rest of it. This demonstrates that you can do the exact opposite. What really matters? What really matters for a story? Story. Simple. Baller. Baller. Another absolute win on Frieren. We're going to call it there for one episode because there was plenty to talk about here, and it just works on its own as a smooth move to have watched this one episode. So we're going to leave it off there, and I will just say thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Frieren. It was a blast. It was a good time, and explored some interesting spaces in this universe, and I can't wait to venture on forward as spring springs forth and we keep moving north. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it sure did, and I am pleased with it. Let's go. See you next week for more Frieren. Much love. Peace.